We are in one of the most remote places on Earth. There's just so many unpredictable factors here. We're up against the hurricanes, and we're gonna see some bears here. They'll be hunting us, we'll be hunting them, so we'll be fighting for our right to live on the land. I'm ready. I want to prove that I can thrive in this environment, and I want to win. I'm Teimojin Tan, and these are my 10 items. First, I have my -40 down sleeping bag with a Gore-Tex integrated cover. Next, I have my fishing line. We are only doing active fishing this season, so fishing is going to be super important. I have an assorted amount of hooks and different types of line. Next, I have my trapping wire. It's going to be one of the only things that we can do passively, so I have an assorted gauge and type, both brass and stainless steel. And for shelter building, traps, and all sorts of things, I have an assortment of paracord. It's going to be super useful when making my shelter and bedding. And I have my emergency rations. Next step is the 2-quart pot. So a 2-quart pot is going to be used for purifying water and also cooking down anything that I catch or kill to get every little ounce of the vitamin, minerals, and nutrients from it. Next step, I have my multi-tool. I'm bringing this because, number one, I need the pliers for fishing and making fishing lures. And it has a large scissor on here, a very sharp knife, anything for precision tasks, skinning an animal, gutting a very small fish. This is going to be super, super useful. And right on the carrier, I have standard ferro rod. Hypothermia is going to be a big risk, so fire is a priority. Next up, I have my bow and arrow. This is a takedown recurve, 50-pound draw, and I have 9 arrows as well. So this is my broadhead. It is razor sharp, and in addition to that, it has 4 blades, and it cuts through flesh like butter. And finally, the axe. This guy I've had for over 10 years, and it's a nice carpenter's axe with a nice beard over here, so you can get really close. So this will double as a straight edge that I could use for small whittling tasks. At the same time, heavy, 2-pound head, and long enough to split decent-sized trees. These are my 10 items. Wish me luck.
What I'm seeing of this land so far is a great variety, much more than I expected. If I could get food and warmth and shelter and water, I believe that I could stay 80 days. I appreciate the grind. I appreciate the challenge. So I am here to survive as long as I possibly can. I'm Karie, and these are the 10 items I've chosen to help me survive in Labrador as long as possible. So the first item I have chosen is a -60 Fahrenheit sleeping bag, synthetic. The synthetic will be very important, I believe, for the amount of precipitation and moisture that we are certain to encounter. Next is a Swedish-style forest axe. You can make traps, of course, source wood, build shelter, so very important, vital tool. Cast iron Dutch oven-style pot is multi-use, gathering water, foraging, cooking food, very important. Next item, paracord in a variety of styles. Fishing kit, as well as fly line, backing, and a variety of leader and tippet materials. Next item, the ferro rod. Gonna be very difficult for friction fires here. With a nice, strong, sparking ferro rod will be vital. Next item, near and dear to my heart, a recurve bow and 9 arrows with a variety of arrowheads. Next item, we have a multi-tool, just like it sounds like, a variety of uses for a multi-tool. Next, we have a crosscut saw. Aggressive teeth, durable, dependable, safe when properly used, and hopefully save us some calories while we're building the shelter and procuring firewood. And our last item, a single-strand snaring wire. Really gonna lean on this to be hunting for me when I'm not. And those are my 10 items, so please wish me the best of luck.
This climate has its own sets of challenges. It's going to be a harsh environment where it's freezing and you're getting a lot of rain. That's going to be hard. To take this challenge is to see quite how far I can push myself. I know that there's a point for everybody at which you break. I want to walk up to that line. My name is Tom Garstang, and I'm from Earlysville, Virginia. And these are the 10 things I'm taking with me into the wilds of Labrador. I'm going to bring my bow to help me get food. It's a 45-pound recurve bow. It's my axe. It's a Swedish-made axe, so I'll use it for felling trees and building my shelter. My folding saw, Japanese-made, very sharp, hopefully very useful for shelter building and firewood. Got my ferro rod. Starting fires is going to be tricky out there. I'm hoping that the ferro rod makes it a little easier for me than if I were to, say, try to build a friction fire. Got my trapping wire for ptarmigan, snowshoe hare, whatever other small critters I can find, and hopefully make some flies and some sinkers and do some crafts and shelter building with that. Paracord, multicolors. I'll use some of this for marking snares, some of it for tying flies, the rest of it for building my shelter and carrying stuff around. Got my hooks and line for fishing. Fishing is going to be big here. We're in one of the trout meccas of the world. Hopefully I can use that to get some food. Got my multi-tool that I'll be using for all sorts of purposes. Got pliers, it's got my blade on it. I've made some small modifications to it. You don't need flathead screwdrivers in the woods, so I've modified those into picks and skinning blades. Got my pot, very important. Boiling all my water, cooking all my food. 2-quart cast iron Dutch oven. You can cook on the top of it, you can haul water in it. It's gonna be my dear friend out there. And I got my sleeping bag to keep me warm and cozy when I'm spending those cold nights out here in Labrador. So those are my 10 items. Wish me luck.
Labrador is an adventure beyond my wildest dreams. The weather here will be a test of fortitude and strength. We gotta stay alive, we gotta stay dry, and make very few mistakes to be the last one standing. If I can give it 100%, I'm gonna win no matter where I end up. My name's Benji Hill, and these are my 10 items. First, we got the trusty sleeping bag. Wouldn't dare enter these woods without it. Being such a wet environment here, I went with a synthetic bag, and being able to recover in this bag every night will be imperative to success in the long term. Next up, cast iron pot. It's exactly 2 quarts for boiling water, planning to eat a bunch of soups and stews. The lid also functions as a pan of sorts. Also, there's kind of 2 items in one with this, and plan to eat a lot of good meals out of this thing. Trapping wire is going to be key out here. While you're either fishing, resting, or working on other projects, having trapping wire allows you to passively hunt. I plan to set a lot of traps and have these working for me night and day. Wouldn't be a proper backcountry adventure without an axe. Looking to chop a lot of wood and build a nice shelter with this. Next, we got fishing line. We're gonna be doing a lot of fly fishing here, and fish is gonna be one of the best sources of food, protein, and fat out here. And this river is an amazing trophy class fishery, so I'm really looking forward to all the great fish I catch. Paracord's at the top of my list. Got lots of colors. We'll be using this a lot to make homemade fly lures to show where our trap lines are so we don't lose any traps out here. Paracord's gonna be really key out here. It wasn't a hard decision to bring the ferro rod for me. Friction fire is fun, but I want to be able to stay warm and have fire when I need it. And as a survival tool, this is going to be essential out here to staying warm, cooking food, and boiling water and tea. So ferro rod's coming with me. Need this multi-tool for all kinds of jobs out here. The pliers, the knife, the saw, and some of the other options make this an invaluable resource out here. There's so many tools in this one item. Kind of a rare item to be brought on the show, but a very important one is salt.
I'm really banking on eating protein, fat, and salt. Salt keeps my energy up, keeps me hydrated, and there's tons of other minerals in here. So I'm gonna risk it, leave something behind, and bring salt for this adventure. Last but not least is my classic recurve. This bow has harvested more game for me than any bow I have in my arsenal. Even though I choose to generally hunt with self bows now, I'm going back to this legendary bow for the hunt of my life and looking to take down some bears, some small game, and it's the most accurate high-power bow I got, and I can bend my life on this thing. Those are my 10 items. Can't wait to get out there and use them.
There's over 10,000 bears here in Labrador. There's a lot of small game here. We're on one of the premier trout fishing rivers in the world. In an environment like this, it is very, very wet, very cold. That constant low-level stress of being in some degree of danger at all times is going to exist. I would like to see what I can do to push myself to my absolute limit. I'm Adam Riley, and these are my 10 items. First item I'm going to be bringing with me is a -40 down sleeping bag. I wouldn't be going out there without it. Second item I'm going to be bringing is a 12-foot by 12-foot tarp. In an environment that is this wet and this cold, having 144 square foot of waterproof material is going to be a huge asset out there. My third item is my axe. My axe has a 24-inch handle and a 2-pound head and a nice long beard, which is really good for up-close crafts. My fourth item will be a saw. I'm bringing a large folding saw, the 3-foot blade. This is going to make processing firewood a much easier task, and it's something that I imagine I'll be using every day. So my fifth item is going to be a multi-tool. This serves obviously a multitude of functions when you're out in the wilderness. This is going to be a very useful item out there. My sixth item is going to be my ferro rod with striker. A reliable means of starting fire is going to be a critical item. My seventh item is my 2-quart cooking pot. I like a pot that has a heavy bottom and is a little shallower and wider so that I can get large pieces of meat or fish in there for cooking. So the eighth item is going to be 300 yards of fishing line. Bringing a fishing kit is going to ensure that I can bag some trophy trout. My ninth item is going to be 2 pounds of trapping wire. Give me another opportunity to have some passive sources of food procurement. And my 10th and final item is my longbow and 9 arrows. It's a powerful and effective killing arrow. This item could be the key to winning this season of Alone. These are my 10 items. Can't wait to get out there and put them to good use.
Labrador is such a vibrant, luscious environment. We're going to just be surrounded by elemental factors. The jutting rock, the pouring rain, the violent winds, and I think to go into an area that I've never been to before, flora and fauna I don't know, I'm excited to be at the edge of something that's so unknown. My goal is to survive on the land, living in harmony with it. My name's Igor Limansky, and these are my 10 items that I've picked to help me survive as long as possible out here in Labrador. The first is my longbow. I've got a almost 33-inch draw length, and the longbow seemed to be the best option for me. My second item is my multi-tool. I've made a few modifications for woodworking and has a good file on there to keep my knife and axe sharp. Next is my ferro rod. I'm going to be using these to start fires in the very cold and damp environment out here in Labrador. This is a 2-quart titanium pot. I chose it because it's very light. I'll be able to boil water very quickly, and if I need to take it foraging, it'll be light and easy to carry. Next is snare wire. I've got mostly 20 gauge and a little bit of 22 gauge brass and stainless steel, and I'm going to be using this to hopefully snare rabbits, squirrels, anything else that's out there. Next is fishing line, an assortment of fluorocarbon, a little bit of floating line. This is a fly fishing river, and we're lucky enough to be able to take a little bit of floating line with us and 25 hooks. Next is 80 meters of paracord. I'm going to be using this for everything from making a tenkari rod out there, shelter, net building, marking my snares. It's really good to have cordage out there and not have to make it. Next is my saw. This is a pretty big saw, probably a little bigger than what I'm going to need out there, but it's going to be good to have for building my shelter, making caches to protect my food from bears. It's a pretty great saw. Next is a good forest axe. I'm 6'6", so it's a pretty good size for me. And lastly is my sleeping bag. So I have a good synthetic -30 bag. It's gonna get wet out here. And while down might be warmer, I didn't really want to worry about ruining the down, so I went with synthetic. Well, those are my 10 items. Wish me luck.
Labrador is incredibly beautiful and incredibly rugged, and it's really cold, really wet. Weather here changes on a dime, not always for the best. But I want to prove that if you chase your dreams, beautiful things can happen. Hello, my name is Jacques Turcotte, and these are the 10 items I have chosen to take with me on Alone Season 9 to survive in the wilds of Labrador. There's a saying that if you tip your canoe, forget the rifle, forget the pack, but make sure you grab your axe. So 28-inch handle with a 2.5-pound main wedge pattern head, vital for chopping all my firewood, building my shelter. Probably the most important tool I'm bringing with me. Next up is going to be my knife. Just a fairly standard full tang puku style knife. Nice, sturdy, and strong knife. Everything from skinning, gutting animals to various bushcraft tasks can be accomplished with this. Next up is going to be my multi-tool. Really helpful to have one of these out with you, especially for fishing, taking hooks out of fish, tying flies. Scissors are super helpful to have. And then having a spare knife and a file to sharpen my axe and main knife will be crucial out there. Next, one of the more important things to bring with you is going to be a ferro rod. It's made out of a red deer my grandfather shot in New Zealand about 30 years ago, so I'm hoping I can channel some of the good luck from this piece of kit. Next up, my bow. It's going to be another important tool I'm bringing with me. This is a 50-pound recurve bow, and then with this bow, I'm going to be bringing 5 broadheads and 4 blunt tips on flu arrows for small game and birds. I'm bringing 2 pounds of trapping wire, both stainless and brass. I'm not bringing paracord, so this will be crucial along with spruce roots for building my shelter. And then I've got my assorted fishing line, both fly line, floating fly line, and monofilament of varying pound tests. And then my 20 assorted hooks and my 5 flies. Then I've got my bush pot. Bush pots are super handy for boiling water, cooking food. Without this, you're gonna go hungry and thirsty out there, so again, a really important bit of kit. Labrador is cold and wet, and in cold and wet, you need to have a synthetic sleeping bag. It keeps you warm even when it is wet. Finally on my list is going to be my 2 pounds emergency rations. All right, y'all, these are my 10 items for Alone Season 9. Wish me luck.
I feel like I won't know what to be concerned about till I get there. Temperatures being right around freezing, and it's only mid-September, so we're looking at going into some pretty cold temps pretty quick, and if it ends up being an early winter, that significantly reduces the amount of time we have to prep for deep snow. It's cold, and it's hard, and it's miserable, but I have the skills and the ability to stay out there and to win it, and that's my goal.
I'm Jessie Krebs, and these are my 10 items.
First, I've got my sleeping bag. This is a synthetic fill. It's huge, and it's a -35 bag. I'm excited to have this out there. This will be a great comfort item. Another item I'm bringing is a multi-tool. So it opens up, so we've got some good wire cutters in there and a good set of pliers, good for if I want to tie flies. Multi-tool, useful for so many different things. So that's definitely going to be a handy thing to have. Next thing, so I've got a ferro rod here. A ferro rod is just such a nice, easy, fast way to start a fire. So it's a good, solid ferro rod. If I can take a striker, might as well have one. I'm also going to be taking some snare wire. It's useful, of course, for snaring a lot of animals, and I'll probably be using it for a lot of snaring as well as possibly tying things up. Definitely a useful tool as well. I'll also be bringing a saw. So I had thought about taking one that's much larger. It cuts through things really fast, which is nice. Anything when I need to do cross-cut, it's a nice thing to have. I'm also taking a block of salt, and this one, I don't know if it's gonna make or break me, but I think it makes things taste a lot better. It's also good for preserving a lot of things, so see how it goes. I'm also bringing along a pot, and I really like having a handle on a sauce pot like this, so I just drilled a couple holes in the end and put some snare wire in there. This is the kind I went for. I also decided on a machete-style type of blade, and it's got some heft to it, and I prefer this generally over a hatchet, so that should be a good handy knife to have. I'm also a big knot nerd. I love doing knots, hitches, and lashings. I can also use it to make flies and fishing lures, so there's a lot of line here, and it's just a big time saver, and I know it's strong. It's not gonna break, so paracord. Multicolor. Last but not least, my bow and arrow. This is an old 1980s bow, actually, that's been refurbished. I like it because it's really lightweight and very compact, easy to carry and haul around, and it just keeps a lower profile. So I'm excited to give this a go and hopefully get something. All right, those are my 10 items. Here we go.
We're going to this river in Labrador, and it's quite remote, and it's gonna be rainy and cold, and that rainy, cold weather is super challenging because we're just gonna survive by foraging and hunting and trapping. It's gonna be the hardest challenge I've ever done in my life, and I also value the opportunity to take myself to the limits of what my body and my mind can do. My name is Juan Pablo, and these are the 10 items I chose that I think will help me last the longest. I brought a ferro rod. This environment is super wet, so I'm bringing a ferro rod. The next item I brought is paracord, just authentic military 550 cord for multiple purposes, and yeah, just cordage is super important out there. The next item I brought is a multi-tool. I like orange because it's easy to see, and it's plastic, so it won't freeze my hands when it's very cold out there. Next item I brought is a pot. So I really like these pots. I'm very familiar with them, and mostly for making soup. The next item I'm bringing is an axe, and it's very unique. You can take off the handle and replace it with other handles that you carve in the field. The next item I brought is fishing line. So brought some fluoro, some monoline, fly fishing line, and assorted hooks. The next item I brought is a saw, 30-inch dry blade. I brought this because it has a dry blade, so it will work very well with dry wood. That's what I'm gonna use for fires anyway. And this just cuts very, very well. The next item I brought is a bow. I brought a 45-pound bow with these really nice, bright arrows, and I have broadheads and small game points. The next item I brought is a sleeping bag. So this sleeping bag is a hybrid, so it has an outer layer that is synthetic and an inner layer that is down. So it's trying to combine best of both worlds. The next item is my snare wire. It will help me with the hunting and trapping. These are my 10 items. Wish me luck.
In this environment, starting a fire is going to be difficult. Everything is wet. Even when the sun is out, the ground is like a sponge. That's gonna be my #1 concern. I know that surviving while I'm cold and tired and hungry is gonna be harder. But I believe I have what it takes to win, and I feel like I'm ready. I'm Karie Lee, and these are my 10 items. First is my -60-degree synthetic bag. This is gonna be cozy, cozy warm. My second item is a multi-tool, and this is going to help me with a whole bunch of things, like bending wire. It's got a little saw on it, and of course it's got a knife. So that's going to be very helpful. Next, I have fishing line. Out here is a beautiful fly fishing river, so this is some fly fishing gear to help me catch my dinner for the night. Next is my emergency ration. Next, I have a selection of colors. In this kind of terrain, it's really good to have bright colors because it's very dark and green, lots of green in this terrain. My next item is my ferro rod. It's 6 inches, no handle. Should keep me toasty warm for making a fire. Next, I have 2 kinds of trapping wire, 22 gauge brass for trapping smaller animals, and some 20 gauge stainless steel so I can do some heavy duty jobs. My next item is my forest axe. This will be handy for cutting down some dry wood for firewood and making my way through the thick forest when I need to get through some thick brush. Never leave home without my axe. My next item is a cast iron 2-quart pot. I'll be cooking all my food in it. Next, I have my bow and arrow. This is a stick bow, very lightweight, really easy to move around in the woods with, very heavy duty, so I really like this bow. So these are my 10 items. Ready or not, here I go.